What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new tactics video, and today it's going to be Thomas Tuchel's 4-2-3-1 as requested by many of you guys. If you do enjoy the tactics on this channel, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription below, and hit that lovely subscription button and hit the notification bell. But let's go into it and break down 3 variants of Tuchel's 4-2-3-1. Starting off with the results though, Bayern Munich brought home 99 points in the Bundesliga season, winning 33 games, drawing 0 and only losing 1 game, which was against Wolfsburg in a 2-1 away defeat. Nearly an invincible season, a fantastic season, utter dominance. We also won the DFB Pokal in a 4-0 win over Werder Bremen. We're not going to complain at that. And a 4-1 win in the Super Cup over RB Leipzig. Obviously, what Leipzig won in real life, we reversed the script a little bit and dominated it. I've got to show you this game because it is the Champions League final, making a quadruple winning season. As you can see there, a big mistake there out of the City back line. We won this game 5-0. I'm going to show you Man City's team afterwards because they were playing full strength, but we absolutely thumped them. A very comfortable win, as you can see us running, absolutely tearing apart this back line. Previous man Sane somehow threads it across into Harry Kane, who outjumps Akanji, or Ake I believe at the time, and we absolutely got off to a flying start. We ended up being 3-0 up just inside of the 31st minute. As you can see there, a great set piece being utilised as well. And we were so comfortable all throughout this game. There was not one point where I thought they were going to get back into the game. Sane played such an impactful role. Must feel quite good against his former club. Assisting from the left-hand side there into Musiala. Obviously a great first-time finish from him. Kingsley Coman now finding himself out on the left-hand side into Goretzka. Great 1-2 play through to Coman. And an even better finish. Too much power for Ederson. And you're seeing the variety of these goals and how they get created. And you can see here, Chelsea then. Man City playing their full-strength team. We obviously played a full-strength team as well. And we absolutely dominated the stats. Potentially, City did deserve at least a goal or two, maybe. They did have 5 shots on target. But nevertheless, 5-0. In terms of the league stats, guys, we're going to be absolutely dominant in those as well. Most points per game at 2.91, nearly that perfect 3 per game. Most goals at 128, double of RB Leipzig. Most shots for coming in at 905. Fewer shots coming in at 203. Most possession at 57%. Joint with Bayer Leverkusen. Wolfsburg very close as well. And also picking up the most clean sheets alongside of the fewest conceded. Over to the actual data hub, we're going to be looking at 3.76 goals per game, a conceded at 0.71, 26.62 shots per game, an 85.98% pass completion, basically 86, a 74% tackle win ratio as well. So what you're seeing here is practically 4 goals a game, still way under a goal conceded a game. Yeah, we can't really complain. In terms of actual player stats then, we are going to be looking at one man now. This is going to be Harry Kane. Obviously the perfect Lewandowski replacement. Obviously they lost him a while ago now, but 83 goals across all competitions for Harry Kane. Almost putting up Haaland numbers, which we see in the Prem, while testing with him. Gnabry also contributing with 23, Musiala with 21, Coman with 15, 12 for Goretzka, Sane with 11. So a lot of players with that 10+ goal mark. Obviously 3 with 20+ goals, but majority of the goals are going to be deployed through Harry Kane, and that is to be expected within this system. When you've got a striker of his calibre, the task is to feed him the ball. In terms of assists, we're going to be looking at 29 from Joshua Kimmich coming from midfield, 19 for Sane to be expected, Gnabry with 17, Coman with 16, Musiala with 16, 11 for Goretzka. Also the fullbacks getting somewhat involved with Alphonso Davies with 11, Guerreiro coming in with 8, Muller with 8 as well. And this is great to see as well because we're not relying on sort of 1 or 2 players to get most of the assists. Obviously Kimmich is going to stand out, but the rest of the players are also putting up really good stats, meaning that it's a team effort, which is key. So let's go over now and break down the tactics. But firstly, when Thomas Tuchel come in, the first notable change was in the team's system. Initially it was suggested that the system should adapt based on the game situation or the opponent's formation. However, player positions must also be considered for rotations and combinations. The most significant difference lies in the number of defenders at the back. Julian Nagelsmann primarily used a back 3, which could shift to a back 4 when defending. This flexibility was enabled by players like Alphonso Davies, who switched to fullback, and Kingsley Coman, who typically played as a winger. This allowed for a switch between a back 3 and 4. In possession, Nagelsmann's team often utilised the back 3, resembling a 3-1-5-1 formation. However, Tuchel prefers a back 4, resulting in formations like the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-1-2-3, all dependent on Leon Goretzka's midfield position. Tuchel's back four system, either being the 4-2-3-1 or 4-1-2-3 setup, depending on Goretzka's role, brought significant changes. Here, each side had 2 players and the middle contained only 2 or 3 attackers. When Goretzka occupied a central pocket in the 4-1-2-3, however, both fullbacks could narrow in to support Joshua Kimmich. In contrast, when Goretzka stayed deeper, the wingers would move inside to exploit the space between the lines. However, the team often favoured wide play due to natural overloads in those areas, with wingers assuming a pivotal role in the attacking scheme. This is what the tactic looks like in the game so far. So it is going to be a sweeper keeper on default, a fullback on the right on support, on cross aim centre, run wide with the ball, get further forwards and also stay wider. Obviously, this is the 4-2-3-1 we're talking about. We are also going to go over the 4-1-2-3 and also a more defensive variant of this formation as well. A ball-playing defender is going to come in on defend, simply on dribble more. This initially was for the sort of Upamecano role. He does love to go forward with the ball. So I personally decided to sort of have this in because it is quite handy having it in and you've got the flexibility to do so. Next to him, a central defender on the default instructions. A fullback on the left on support, on cross aim centre, dribble more, run wides with the ball, get further forwards and also stay wider. A box to box, which is going to be on support, on get further forwards, and that is simply it. Again, some of these roles don't need to be overcomplicated because the default instructions do exactly what I want the player to be doing. And next to him, which is going to be the traditional Kimmich role, or it could be a DM in some scenarios, a ball-winning midfield player simply on support, which means he is automatically going to be tackling harder. And that is going to give you a very solid, but also can be attack and back four, 2 fantastic options in midfield, and we're now going to discuss the attack. The positioning of Koeman and Leroy Sané in this system carries significant tactical significance and mirrors Tuchel's strategy. When facing an opponent expected to defend with a compact block from midfield to their box, Tuchel deploys Koeman, who is right-footed, on the left-hand side, and places the left-footed Sané on the right. This arrangement allows him to cut inside, encouraging fullbacks to overlap and create a 2v1 advantage. And that is why we now opt for an inside forward on attack, on pass at shorter on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it's going to be exactly the same. The utter significance of these being inside forwards cannot be described enough, as these are going to cut inside into these sort of areas here. The fullbacks are then, however, going to overlap and create those 2v1 sort of scenarios, which Tuchel does love, and it works really well in the current match engine as well. In the middle, we're going to have a shadowy striker on attack, on pass at shorter. I forgot pass at shorter on these sort of front 3 to 4 because they work really well playing them short, sweet passes together. They work, obviously, all these players just link up fantastic in real life, so why not play the same way in FM if you can do so, which in this case we can. And to finish it off, the advanced forward simply on the default instructions, which is going to be your Harry Kane, which scored over 80 goals in this season. Now over to the team instructions, but really guys, switching to this back four system also offers potential benefits in dealing with the counter-attacks you're going to be facing. Under Nagelsmann's management, the high defensive line with a back three was a prominent aspect of their play. However, this approach carried the risk of leaving significant space behind, leading to goals conceded from counter-attacks, which we saw on quite a few occasions. In contrast, the back four system provides an additional defender at the back, which can enhance their ability to defend against any potential counter-attacks. Possession is going to be set around a positive mentality, a fairly wide attacking width, pass into space, overlap left and overlap right, obviously going to be on as we discussed. Passing it shorter is going to be key. A higher tempo obviously also going to be key in any Tuchel system, and we're also going to look to run at defence while having mixed crosses. In transition, we're going to be looking to apply a counter press. We're going to counter when we've got the ball, meaning we're going to have both fullbacks going forward, 2 midfielders and also the front 4, so it's going to be absolutely lethal to try and defend against. We're going to distribute to the centre-backs and also the fullbacks, while taking short goal kicks. In terms of out of possession, we are going to rock this high defensive line alongside of the high press line of engagement, and alongside of this we are going to be applying much more often and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Now, this is a very aggressive tactic to play. There's a lot of pressing going on, so I would recommend you've got good depth in your areas and make sure you've got correct training in place You can obviously tone it down a little bit. It will just take away a little bit of the DNA from Thomas Tuchel and what he actually likes to play. If you haven't got the players to obviously facilitate this play style, just lower it down a little bit to make it suitable for your team. And of course, guys, we have now got 2 more variants to go over. That is going to be his 4-1-2-3 and also a defensive variant. I want to quickly thank all of the wonderful names coming down the screen right now. These are going to be new or existing Patreon members. Patreon is a great way to support me as a creator and carry on making these style of videos. And also you get some cool perks yourselves, including access to all 3 of these wonderful files. You also get early video and tactical release, priority in your tactic and rebuild requests, one-on-one tactical help, and also access to the exclusive Patreon giveaways, which are definitely going to include 3 to 4 copies of FM23, some football shirts, and we'll see what else we can throw in. So definitely check it out. Link is going to be in the description. So this is going to be the 4-1-2-3. Now, it is also a 4-3-3, it looks like, I must admit, but it is described as a 4-1-2-3, and it does play very similar to this 4-2-3-1. What I will say is it's probably more balanced, more sort of defensively solid in my opinion, because you don't have that really attacker midfield player, and obviously you've got one player here to protect the back 4. Obviously, as discussed in the sort of analysis, we are going to have fullbacks that are going to come narrower now to support the single DM in that midfield. But to get things going, we're going to go with a sweeper keeper on support on the default instructions, a fullback on the right on support, on run wide, get further forwards, and also sit narrower being the key instruction there. A ball playing defender on the right is also going to be on dribble more. We're going to maintain that instruction there. A central defender is going to be on defend, on shoot less often, and the fullback on the left is going to be on attack, on run wide, and also sit narrower. Obviously, that is going to be the Alphonso Davies, as discussed in that analysis. Moving up the field, it's going to be a DM on defend, simply on the default instructions. He doesn't need to do any more than what the sort of default does, therefore, why tweak it? Moving forwards, a box-to-box on the left-hand side, which is going to be simply on get further forwards. Very important that he's on this instruction, because you can go from a midfield that does create chances to a midfield that does create virtually nothing, because you need some support alongside of this Metzala on the default attacking instruction to help create chances and get further forwards, and also cause lots of issues, because in this variant, not all the inside forwards are on attack. Obviously, this left-hand side, on the left-hand side, when it comes to the inside forward, he's on support because the fullback's on attack. So just having that extra bit of help from that box-to-box does help out massively. But when it comes to the inside forward, guys, on the left, it's going to be on support, on pass it shorter. Exactly the same on the right, but on attack. And the advanced forward up top is going to be on the default instructions. In terms of the team instructions, it's going to be a positive mentality still. Attack and width, though, is going to change. Set to fairly wide. Pass into space, overlap left and overlap right still going to be on. A shorter passing directness alongside of a higher tempo. And in terms of this, we're going to have nothing selected when it comes to run at defence. We're going to leave that blank. We have also maintained that mixed crosses. In transition, we're going to maintain that counter pressing style. We're going to hit on the counter still, because that is what we're all about. We're going to distribute to the fullbacks and the centre-backs still on this occasion, and also take short goal kicks. For out of possession, it's got to remain exactly the same as the 4-2-3-1. As I said, this is not really an attacking or defensive variant. It's more just another way that Tuchel can deploy his team, dependent on the role of Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka, mainly Leon Goretzka, to be honest with you. So it is a very good way of playing. Obviously, both are going to have the higher line, still going to have the high pressing line, still much more often, and still prevent short goalkeeper distribution. But the real change, to be honest, is going to be switch between these two tactics to obviously switch it up mid-season. And also, it's going to help you guys, because you might have a team which favours a 4-3-3 better, or a 4-1-2-3, should I say. So it's quite handy to have the two. So if you can, definitely either download the two or copy the 2 to 3 and have all of them at your disposal. And last but definitely not least, we now have got a defensive variant of the 4-2-3-1 for when you are leading your games, and I would recommend switching to this because it is really, really solid. We're going to kick things off with a sweeper keeper on support, a fullback on support on the right, simply on stay wider. Not really wanting him to get further forwards now at all, because we are trying to defend a lead. A ball playing defender simply on the default, a central defender simply on the default, a fullback on the left simply on support alongside the stay wider, exactly the same as the right hand side, a DM which suits Kimmich down to a T, on defend, on tackle harder, a deep line playmaker simply on support on the default instructions, an inside forward on the right on support on pass it shorter, an advanced playmaker in the middle simply on pass it shorter, and an inside forward on support also on pass it shorter. And what you're going to see really well with this tactic is how good we are at maintaining possession. Having that pass it shorter instruction on maintains possession really easily amongst these sort of 3 to 4 players in this sort of triangle here. And because of the way that the team sort of shapes up, very low risk, there's always going to be passing options on, not too many players running out of position, and it works really, really well. And to finish it off, the advanced forward on attack, simply on the default, move into channels. In terms of the team instructions, we're now going to adopt a balanced mentality, which obviously is going to be pretty obvious. We have got to drop it down 1 or 2 levels. A standard attack and width, pass into space while playing out from the back. That is never going to change in this system. A shorter passing directness. We're still going to have the higher tempo because that is how Tuchel plays, and at the end of the day there's no harm playing with that aggressive sort of tempo, because when we have got the ball we are naturally going to calm it down. Mixed crosses in the final third. Dribble less, this encourages more possession play, and also be more disciplined when it comes to being creative with the freedom. In transition, a couple of changes. We're still going to have the counter press and style. However, we're not going to directly hit on the counter because we are favouring a more possession-based style. We're going to slow the pace right down, and we're still going to play to the centre-backs and the full-backs, taking short goal kicks. First time out of all 3 of these variants, we are now going to adopt a standard defensive line, the high pressing line of engagement, more often, so we've knocked it down 1 when it comes to the trigger press, and we're also going to apply some pressure on the opposition goalkeeper. So this is the first time we're going to see this tactic sort of change from obviously being a higher line tactic to a standard line, and that's purely just to make it a little bit more balanced and a little bit more defensively solid. That is going to give you guys 3 fantastic tactics. Obviously his 4-2-3-1 as discussed, his 4-1-2-3 as discussed, and also sort of a custom one from me, a defensive 4-2-3-1 that still suits his style of play. So if you guys have enjoyed today's video, please do consider leaving a like on it, and also over 80% of you guys that watched are not subscribed. Definitely hit the subscribe button because there's pretty much tactics every 2 to 3 days coming out alongside of rebuilds and Wonder Kid videos. So definitely hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're trying to push for 13k. Let's see if we can do it. But enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.